Welcome insiders to Film Inside. I'm your host Eric. So today we'll be taking a look at Aperture. So what is Aperture? We'll take a look at any kind of camera lens. Camera lenses are very complex. There's parts of the lenses that let you focus on the image. There's parts of the lenses that stabilize your shot, etc., etc. Aperture, also known as iris, is one part of that. And the aperture/iris controls the amount of light that goes into the lens and actually hits the sensor. When operating the aperture, everything is known as f-stops. So right now I'm at 3.5 aperture, so that's f3.5. If I wanted to make this image even brighter, I could go to like f2.8 or f1.8 or something like that. Or if I want to make a darker image, I could go to like f5.6. or f7 or f16. But changing the aperture doesn't only affect the amount of light going into your camera, it also affects the focus and the depth of field. Also, something to make note of when it comes to f-stops are kind of opposite. When it says f1.8, that means that the sensor is letting the most amount of light in. It's the biggest opening, even though it's a small number. When if you go to like f16, that hole that lets the light in is really small. So it's kind of opposite, but just make a mental note of that. When shooting videos, people always say that you can never have enough light. And that is true. So one would assume that opening up your iris, opening up your aperture to the maximum amount it can go to, like f1.8, is the best way to go always. But that isn't actually true, because when you open up your aperture to like f1.8, you're not just adjusting the light that goes into it, you're also adjusting your focus points. But taking a look at the subject is very specifically focused on, and the background is really blurry. And that's because right now I'm at f-stop 1.8, which means the maximum amount of light is being let into my sensor, which means that the camera can't focus on everything in the subject, it can only focus on a little portion of it. But now if we go down to f-stop 5.6, you're going to notice that the background starts to become a little bit less unfocused. And that's because now the aperture is closing down, the camera sensor can focus on more things. But understand, I have not changed the focus point at all. I've only changed the aperture. But now going to like f16, you're going to see a lot more things are going to start to get in focus. And just being able to utilize aperture to control your focus is something very important. If I'm doing like close-up product shots or anything, I'm going to use an aperture of f1.8 so I can really focus on the subject. But hey, if I'm doing like a group shot where people might be not at the same distance from the camera, I might want to go closer to like f16 so I can get more people in focus. Of course, that's what you have to figure out. You decide how you want to shoot. But just understand aperture, understand how it works. And if you want to get a new lens to really maximize aperture, I have a Canon DSLR, and my kind of favorite lens is the Nifty 50. It's a 50mm prime lens, which means you can't zoom or anything, but you can change the aperture all the way to f1.8. I do a lot of like product shots and stuff with this, and it is amazing. It's really sharp, great detail. I would really recommend it. Regardless, guys, that's the video for today. If you want to know anything else about my DSLR or operating cameras or anything like that, leave that in the comment section below. Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. Like this video, subscribe, share the events, help the channel any way you can. Anyway, guys, my name's Eric. This is Tech Inside, and I'll see you in another video.